Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is society's impact on adolescent health and well-being. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about society's impact upon adolescent health and well-being, Alana McLaughlin. Alana has been with us on a number of occasions, but over the last couple of appearances, she has been absent. And so we want to make sure that people understand where you've been, Alana, for the last several weeks, you see. And so in order to do that, let's give them sort of a review of your background, your education, and some of your experiences that has led you to us this morning.
As Dr. Haney previously stated, my name is Alana McLaughlin. I reside in Nashville, Tennessee with Dr. Haney because of the fact that he's my grandfather. I go to John Early Museum Magnet Middle School. I am in numerous activities after school, including the Junior National Young Leaders Conference and multiple activities. So, as Dr. Haney stated, that I have been absent for a couple of appearances. This has been because of my deep devotion to school and things like that, getting my education first. I recently was involved in the MNPS Expo, which is where schools all around MNPS come together and they showcase projects having to do with business, marketing, sciences, and things of that nature. And I was fortunate to win gold at this expo because the rankings go from, bronze, silver to gold. I'm really an advocate for education first. I want to make sure that I can always be a positive influence on anyone because I don't want people to just think that this is the only thing I do. I want people to still know that I'm a regular person. I still go to school. I still hang out after school and things of the nature. And so I'm really involved in church and school and things like every other American teenager does. Well, I don't do a lot of things that teenagers do.
Well, and so Alana, the thing that you're talking about now, some of the things that we're talking about now, society's impact upon adolescent health and well-being. How would you define that? I mean, what does that really mean to you?
Well, to break it down in the layman's terms, how does society and social media really affect the American adolescent? I mean, for instance, everywhere we go, a lot of things, we're really controlled in America. We see things on TV, we see things on the news, we get fed different things in schools and etc. And that really changes the way that we live. For instance, they can teach you one thing in school, you can learn one thing on the street. Which way you choose, which path you choose will determine your life. Because I can hear that drugs are bad in school and I can hear that drugs are fundamental on the street, and if I choose the fact that drugs are fundamental, then I'm gonna go into a drug-filled life. If I choose the fact that drugs are not fundamental, I will go into a not drug-filled life. It's really, society impacts so much, and in this day and age, it's the adolescent that wants to fit in that really just impacts us so much.
And defining these adolescents, now who are you talking about? You're talking about young people, boys and girls, people with between what ages and et cetera that are so caught up in this kind of impact?
I'm really speaking to range ages 13 to 18, or teenagers, and the children that really grow up around television and TV, computers, social media, cell phones, and all this. Like, for instance, think of the modern day iPhone. Everywhere you go, you'll probably be in a room with someone who has an iPhone. This is because we see iPhones advertised on TV, television, radios, ads that we saw on a previous phone before we bought an iPhone. And that's really how society is really impacting, and they're really reaching out to the teenagers because the teenagers, they beg their parents for things, and then their parents get interested in it, and it's really speaking to a bigger crowd than you could ever imagine.
And so all of these things will have an impact as we get ready to end this first segment. All of these things will have an impact on the health and well-being of adolescents. And you're going to talk about that, I would imagine, when we come back during the second segment, that the specific impacts that this has, and you've got some examples that will demonstrate this. But overall, you're simply saying that what society does will have an impact upon how adolescents feel in terms of their health and well-being.
More than you can imagine.
Yeah, well, and you will we'll continue to pursue that when we come back for the second part of this show, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.